Hey Hofstra fans, welcome to the WB Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com. My name is Kevin Dexter, joined alongside, as always, by the head coach of the Hofstra Pride women's basketball team, Krista Kilburn-Steveskey. Coach, thanks so much for the time. How are you today?
Great, Kevin. How are you?
Coach, 2 wins this past week down in Cancun. We'll talk about the wins first, but how was Cancun?
It was awesome. Definitely ranks as one of the best team trips I've taken as a head coach or as an assistant. So it was well run, Triple Crown does the Cancun Challenge, and just a great atmosphere, obviously, and a great venue to have a game.
And I hope you got to enjoy it after the 2 victories.
We did.
A little bit easier to enjoy the trip.
We did. Weather was perfect, so it was really proud of my team to be disciplined and just wait till we took care of the business trip, and then we were able to have some fun after.
Well, those 2 wins, first off, it was Thanksgiving Day against Kansas State, a team from the Big 12. In preseason, they were picked 9th out of 10 teams in the Big 12, but still, anytime you're taking on a power conference team, it's going to be a tough test. Your team dominated in the early goings, were able to manage throughout the game and pick up the victory. What made the team so successful against the Wildcats?
Well, again, like you just said about the Big 12, I mean, they were still probably one of the best defensive teams in that league, and it was strong, even bigger than what we saw in film when we got there. So we knew it was going to be that type of challenge for us, going against our offensive set. So thought Candice Palacio did a phenomenal job on Brittany Chambers. It was kind of a team effort, but she certainly held the nod on that. And just defensively was probably one of our best defensive games all year long, and kind of like the old Hofstra with the defense. That we are getting ourselves back to. So I was definitely proud of that. And like I said, they're a very good team. They're not overly deep. Childs is one of the best post players that we'll face in our league. I mean, in our league, she was definitely very top post player. So just proud of my group.
Well, something you spoke about going into the game was that Kansas State was going to try and slow down the tempo on you, and it seemed for a good stretch of the game they did control the tempo a little bit more than you guys did, but you were still able to come away with the win. Is that something that's a positive going forward because you were able to win a game like that?
Yeah, it felt like 2 conference games down there. I mean, teams that, again, that were two very good defensive teams and weren't going to let somebody just walk right in and do whatever they want. So that is a lot like the teams that see you in the conference that know what you're running. So that was proud. I mean, we really kind of found ways to win and found out things about ourselves, that we maybe didn't even know, and how to grind things out when we need to, and how to win in different ways. And I think that's a mark of a very veteran team is figuring out that obstacle. We have more depth. We've got a lot more. We were that, like I always say, like 1 player short last year in some games that we might have pulled through in those 2 games in San Diego and Cincinnati last year. So it was just a great team effort, and we got production from everyone in the whole weekend. Great minutes by Nicole Palacio and Adriana Thomas, and of course Marie Malone, just right around the board. We just had a great team win.
And the Kansas State game, you brought it up before, Brittany Chambers, 4 of 19, they're all first team Big 12 performer. Candice Palacio got the nod, as you brought up, but Candice Bond was on her for a little bit, Nicole Palacio was on her, Adriana Thomas was on her. How proud of your team's defense are you against a top player from another conference like that, able to shut her down?
Well, we've had a lot of experience with that, and it's one of the things I told them when we were going to this game. I said, you guys had to defend Dawn Evans, Elena Del Don, you have to defend Courtney Hurt, Andrea Barber. People don't realize how talented our league is. And they took it on as like a Dawn Evans challenge as well too, and Dawn Evans was just heads and tails better than Brittany Chambers, and just because she can also penetrate on the explosive first step, and the things that Dawn could do that we've been guarding her for the last 4 years. So they took it on a challenge of this is like a top team in our league that has a stellar player, and they really answered that. And they asked me at halftime, I was like, she's 1 for 10. I'm like, all right, we got to keep her, we got to hold her, for the second half. So, Childs ended up with 20 points, but something has to give, and we put a lot of efforts toward stopping her because we feel like they were the heart and heartbeat of the team.
Well, the game against Drake the next day, less than a 24-hour turnaround before you take on Drake, and Candice Palacio goes out with about 5-6 minutes into the game, a little bit of an injury under her eye. Nicole Palacio, Adriana Thomas have to come in. How impressed were you with them, their ability to run the point and keep the team going without Candice?
It was, I had to tell you this. I told Candice, I said, I understand that this is my last year with you. I just wasn't ready, to look on the bench and not have her on the bench. And it was kind of sombering at times, with the beginning, because I'm like, where is she? And that's the mark of a great team where, Adriana Thomas didn't bat an eye as a freshman, and of course Nicole knew what she had to do. to help run this team. And I just thought, there you go again. You find out something else about your team. We had a little bit of a prelude to this when we had a scrimmage earlier in the year where it was a very physical scrimmage. And I was treating it real, and Candice Palacio had like 3 fouls on a setter and had to play Nicole at the point and Andre at the point. So it was great to have put ourselves in a little bit of that position, but then this was for real.
Right.
And I couldn't be more proud of Nicole and just, her headiness and, doing what she needed to do to help us win. And Marie Malone on the stat line, she's getting better and better each game. She had 5 blocks in that game.
Right.
I mean, her added inches, going against her post, they did a great job of diffusing, their post game.
Well, Candice has been banged up in the past. Any concerns going forward about her just coming
No.
off the injury?
No, I mean, no, she'll be fine. It was brutal, and it was a very physical game. That's pretty much all I'll say about that. But we were able to take some matters in our own hands. We actually sent the clip, to the Missouri Valley Conference, and they saw it and they made some situations based on the player, that made a pretty big hard hit on Candice, and she had to go, to the hospital right then. So she's ready. She practiced yesterday, and she'll be ready to go.
Well, you brought up the Drake game and the defense that your team played.
Yeah.
Someone you praised throughout the whole week. You praised her a couple times already, Nicole Palacio, for her defense. Normally
Right.
we're talking about her
Yeah.
offense, but her
Right.
defense was outstanding. Marie Malone with the 5 blocks, and it seems like we haven't even talked about Candice Bond, who always has
Right.
such a big impact on defense. So these 2 games, when you look at them, compared to the first 3 games, where it was your offense that
Right.
were able to win you those games, now you're able to win these games based on your defense. Is
Right.
that something that is just such a confidence boost
Yeah,
going forward?
I mean, it is. I mean, because like I said, you're not going to be able to just walk into your top programs and just, you certainly want to get better offensively and learn how to read the defense and make a little better decisions and keep the game in transition as much as we can. But yeah, it is. I mean, Shantae Evans obviously carried us in a lot of point production the whole weekend, and, it's hard to stop her. And but yeah, I mean, I can't be more proud than, what we had to do to win. And no one shot well in those rims. No one shot well. If you look at, the scores, I mean, we scored more points than any other teams
Right.
that were down there. You're playing, the lighting wasn't as bad, but the rims were extremely tight, but you are in a different environment,
Right.
and that's the reason why you play these kind of games. Is just to be able to be on a foreign floor. It kind of reminds you of going into the CAA championship when you were playing over, in Maryland at that Showcase Arena,
Right.
and you're walking in, and this floor was like a makeshift floor that was put in there, very similar to the show place.
Right.
So, it makes me proud because you're hoping that these things are going to help you and carry you throughout the season and help you, be in that spot you want to be, toward conference time.
And for our viewers that don't know, those games down in Cancun were played in a ballroom.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of a
Yeah.
challenge for this team. But the games that you did play and going forward, and the games you played thus far in the non-conference slate, have been against a lot of teams that have some size. Your team,
Yeah.
it's no secret, has a little bit undersized at times when you have to play Shantae
Right.
Evans at the 5. Is that something going forward when you look at the rest of the non-conference and into the conference, that these games are going to prepare you for play teams like that have 6'2", 6'3" bigs? To go
Well, yeah, I mean, we turn around and we got Seton Hall that has a 6'5", post player, but we can be 6'3", 6'2", we can put a big lineup out there as well too. But so at least we're not in a situation where we didn't have Marie Malone and Devin, Green last year. So we can put in some different lineups, and Shantae plays a lot better than she is. So I just don't really look at it that way. I mean, if we were sitting there with Anya Manyuku and Candice Bond, that sometimes I'm always playing the 4 and 5 against a big team, we would be having to have a lot of young defenses and playing a lot of different scenarios here. But it's nice. It's nice to have this luxury to be able to have different lineups.
Well, Coach, what was the biggest thing you took from the 2 games down in Cancun against Kansas State and Drake? Looking forward, you have Seton Hall coming up on Thursday, Georgia State on Sunday. What's the biggest thing you took from them as a positive, and something that you say we really need to work on this going forward?
Well, and it's I mean, as a huge positive, obviously, we played 2 very good teams that are going to go on and do well in their league, and that were just physical. It was a very physical, aggressive type game that really challenged us. And I just think it really, when I keep saying about it, told us something about ourselves. It's like we just didn't get down. If something wasn't working, like this time last year, we didn't have as many challenges until later. Until I always talk about like the Hartford game on the 22nd of December last year. We're having a lot of challenges early. We're playing teams that are very good, from St. John's to Gonzaga to Kansas State to Drake. So you're playing these teams that that are very well coached. They're going to give you all different types of looks and play you different ways, and so it really challenges you early, and that part is really exciting to me, because like I keep saying, we didn't get that till later. So it just and we didn't get down, where we were putting in the new system last year, and maybe something didn't work exactly the way we wanted it to work. last year, then we would have those lulls. And I think we've gotten over that. I think we've gotten over playing a really good team like Gonzaga the first game and kind of got punched in the teeth, on some of their runs and the momentum shifts, and we were just learning how to keep fighting. And so now it takes us to the next opponent, and it's going to be another physical game with a lot of size and really good guard play, and now we got to be ready to keep fighting.
Well, Seton Hall on Thursday at
Yeah,
home.
yeah.
After the trip out to Washington, trip down to Cancun. You had one game at home, but excited to be back at home and back out on the home floor.
I am. We're all kind of recovering a little bit too from Cancun. I think more so the coaches than the players. They're a little more resilient than we are. But yeah, so now we're getting back home, and I've been watching tons of film on Seton Hall, and very good second year under Ann Donovan. So they're running their stuff a lot better, and they just playing better together as a team, and and then they're better. They're a lot better, and they're coming in here 5-2 with losses to Michigan and to Alabama. So we got to be ready, and we've been working all week. And we're ready to get back on this floor and get ourselves into a W.
Well, you did play Seton Hall at Seton Hall last year, picked up a
Yeah.
victory, and their leading scorer used to play at Northeastern, Jasmine
Yeah.
Crew, a guard. So does that help your preparation because you saw her at Northeastern and last year against
Yeah,
Seton Hall?
and she's good. So now we have another point guard that takes the majority of the shots and is really their go-to. So luckily we've had a lot of that we've been dealing with already to a very good St. John's team. Player for player, St. John's is phenomenal, and so now we've got that same kind of scenario with Seton Hall. So we'll be ready. We kind of know what our game plan is going to be, and now we're ready to execute.
And after Seton Hall this week, you do have Georgia State,
Yeah.
conference outlier,
Yeah.
6th year here, tons of years as an assistant coach in
Right.
the CNA, but does this conference outlier game get any easier for you to prepare
No,
for
it
early
doesn't.
in December?
No, it doesn't. And I've only seen a little bit of Georgia State. I've been talking to my assistants a little bit because I don't really like to go too far ahead, but they're doing all kinds of things to find ways to win, and a lot of defensive change-ups and a lot of really mixing up defensive schemes. That's going to be another tough one down in Atlanta, and we have a little chip on our shoulder from last year. So we need to take care of business Thursday and then have our sights set for Sunday and beat Georgia State in Atlanta. So definitely a good week.
Well, Coach, what does the Pride have to do to go 2-0 this week and come away after this week 6-1 on the year, continue this winning streak?
Yeah, I think these next two games are going to be just the same. They're not going to, one thing I've been seeing about Seton Hall, they're not going to just keep running the same thing. So they're going to be mixing it up like crazy. So now we're going to have two very similar games that are going to challenge us on the offensive end, and we just need to keep running our pace and having our tempo and handling whatever they throw at us, because they have a lot of young defenses and a lot of things they're going to throw out against us, and then we just got to kind of weather that storm. And so keeping our pace and continue our defensive efforts, rebounding. Again, we're still a little bit deficit in that rebounding area, but we're getting better and better in each game. So that's made me really proud. We're rebounding better and playing better defense. So we stick to those concepts and then keep improving on our offense, and it'll be a nice two-win swing here.
All right, well, Coach, 7 o'clock at home on Thursday against
Yep.
Seton Hall, down at Georgia State on Sunday. Thanks so much for the time.
Thank
Good
you.
luck this week.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for tuning in to the WB Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com.